It's been 9 years since a certain Omaha trio released an album. Its members on an unofficial hiatus, but still in contact, still friends, and after some time, still ready to work together. I'm Bruce Trujillo on Indie 102.3, and of course, I'm talking about Bright Eyes, consisting of Connor Oberst, Mike Mogus, and Nathaniel Walcott. And on August 21st, the band is releasing a new 14-song collection called Down in the Weeds Where the World Once Was. And the band joins me to talk about this upcoming album. Connor, Mike, Nathaniel, welcome and welcome back.
Thanks for having us.
Tell me a little bit about Mariana Trench.
Well, that was one of the first songs we started when we started making the record. And the original demo was just piano and voice, and it was a lot slower. But then when we finally got in the studio and started making the actual recordings, we got this guy, John Theodore, who's like an amazing drummer who plays with like Queens of the Stone Age and Mars Volta, and then this other guy named Flea, who you might have heard of, who plays with the Chili Peppers and
my other band,
Atoms for Peace. Anyway, so once we got in there, I think it got a lot more exciting, and it's kind of a driving, propulsive rhythm situation. And then your boy Nate Walcott here wrote that really cool horn section breakdown in the middle.
Appreciate
and
that.
I don't know what else to say about it other than, obviously Mount Everest is the tallest place on Earth, and Mariana Trench is the lowest place in it's the deepest spot of the ocean. So I guess that's the highs and the lows. Is what it's about.
The return to Bright Eyes came about pretty organically, as you guys were never not friends or anything like that. So tell me about deciding to come back together to create this new album, kind of Christmas of 2017.
It was a party at Nate's house.
Yeah, it came about pretty organically. I think, our schedules were sort of aligning towards the end of 2017. Kind of a lot of our various projects were kind of winding down, and Connor threw it out as an idea at that time, and it sounded like a great idea to us. So we kind of virtually shook on it that night of that party, although we kind of had to circle back.
Yeah, Nate and I snuck into the bathroom, and we FaceTime Mike and asked him if he was into it, and we were all feeling very festive at the time, and so we all agreed, and then we had to call each other like a few days.
Originally I was kind of a holdout, and like
Mike wanted more money.
No. Yeah, I was like
but then we like came in, or we talked a few days later and realized we were serious, and then we started writing the songs and demoing like in the spring of 2018. And so it took a couple years to make it, but as you can hear, it's worth it, I
was just hoping it'd be kind of like one of those things where you call them and you're like, we're getting the band back together. But tell me more about the writing process for these songs, because I've read that it was really a collaborative effort. You kind of wanted it to sound like everybody's input was in there.
Yeah, in the past, I've I wouldn't say all the songs, but most of the songs I would bring in a finished form, and I would show them, to Nate and Mike, and then they would obviously help make all the arrangements, and we would all decide on, production ideas. But this time, since I felt like if we were going to make a new record, we should make it, as collaborative as possible. So a lot of these started with, like, Nate would have a chord progression. He would send it to me. I would kind of live with it for a while, and then try to write a vocal melody and lyrics that fit with his musical ideas. And it was kind of building blocks, just putting it all together from everyone's input. And I think that's probably why it took so long to make, because the first year was just creating the demos and essentially writing the songs, and then the second year was making the actual recordings.
And I've also read the new songs sound most like a complete collection of Bright Eyes tunes, with like glimmers of previous releases like Casadega, Wide Awake, and Lifted. Do you find that's true? It's kind of like it's a good collection of Bright Eyes songs?
Yeah, I think we went about it kind of having that in the back of our mind, like kind of wanting to refer to all those past records and instrumentation and arrangement, while going about it with a, slightly new method for some of it, but definitely wanted to have that feeling of familiarity
nostalgia.
in terms of instrumentation and arrangement and production approaches and things like that.
And do you think it's because of that collaborative spirit that it was like, this is a real, like somebody maybe was remembering something from the early 2000s and then somebody was remembering something from a little bit further on. So it was just, all three of your heads coming together in this Bright Eyes space?
I think that's fair to say. Michael, you got any comments on that?
Well, yeah, I mean, because that seems like not inevitable, but it seems like that is a logical, that's maybe why it feels like, when we were mastering the record, I was listening to it, I was like, gosh, this sounds like every Bright Eyes record. And, like
mashed together.
Kind of mashed together. That sounds like a terrible album, by the way. But no, it's just once everybody kind of contributes a little bit more and your roles open up, I feel like it brings more of the past into the present. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think I definitely wanted it to feel like, like we said, like fit in the collection, like if it's sitting up on the shelf with the other records, it won't stick out like a Thorsum. But I also wanted it to like reflect where we're all at, we're all getting old, so I think I wanted to sound like Bright Eyes, but like, obviously in 2019 or whenever we made it.
Mid-40s Bright Eyes.
Yeah, exactly.
Grown up Bright Eyes.
That's right. That's right, Brewster.
Did you find?
I feel like we're doing the same things that we were doing. Never mind. Sorry.
Go ahead.
No.
I got the mini disc out,
so. Did you find that there was any expectation to have it sound like a Bright Eyes album, or was it kind of just like, while you were in there, it was like, well, it is a Bright Eyes album? Was there any expectation, I guess?
I mean, I don't think there was no expectation really at all because no one knew we were making it, which was nice.
I think she was referring to ourselves. Like,
ourselves?
Well, I mean, I guess too, because none of your fans knew, when is Bright Eyes going to come back? Are they? So I guess there's kind of that anonymity that you have. But also, like within yourselves, like, oh shit, we're working on Bright Eyes stuff.
I mean, I just felt like if we're going to do it, like, let's make it part of what the band is. And so, yeah, I think it's just something that we all desired, so I don't know if that's a expectation or a desire, but yeah.
I'm gonna go with desire.
Also, to some degree, maybe
it just sounds better.
To some degree, maybe in inevitability as well. It's like probably going to happen. Like we'd have to kind of go out of our way to make something that sounded totally different. If we were going to make like a polka record or something, like we'd have to really sit down and.
I feel like we could probably do it because we do a lot of bump 6/8. We're like
we got accordions. I can see one over there.
Yep. Because it seems like every record we kind of like step into a different zone. Maybe polka is the next one. I don't know. I'm kidding.
Tell me a little bit more about Persona non grata.
Well, it's a funeral dirge. It is the first song to ever feature bagpipes for us.
I think there's an air organ or maybe
but anyway, yeah, it's I don't know. I think it's a funeral dirge. It's about kind of I don't know what it's about. It's whatever you think it's about, Brewster. That's what it's about.
I want to focus on the name, a very Bright Eyes name, if I can say so. Down in the Weeds Where the World Once Was. It seems very nostalgic. Was that an intentional title for the album because of the return to the band?
I suppose so. I mean, I was aware that, we've been guilty of having too long of titles. And in the years following I guess, well, I don't know, our last couple titles were pretty short, but I feel like I kept most of my titles pretty short, in these last like decade. So felt like if we're coming back, let's just come back all the way, you know?
Classic Bright Eyes move.
Yeah.
Got to have a comma in there somewhere.
Yeah. Somewhere.
Yeah. I guess tell me a little bit more about choosing this name though. Is there some sort of feeling that it's supposed to elicit? Is there something that you kind of chose for it? It was like, this is kind of representative of this collection of songs.
Well, it's sort of a long story, but I guess we're on the radio. I'll try to make it fast. I was making this flip book a few years ago, but it was like I was writing this long poem and I was going to make this flip book, and that was the title of the poem and the book. And I got like halfway through the project and I got like discouraged and realized like just because you can write songs doesn't mean you can write poetry, and I quit the project. And then when we started making the record, I realized that a lot of the themes of the poem were the themes of the record, and I still liked the title. So I thought, hey, I'll just take the title and use it. I don't know. That kind of answers your question.
I think it's fine. Bright Eyes also does have such a long history as well. And you've all been doing other things, working on different projects, releasing solo music since 2011, the last time we heard you. So tell me about how those experiences are coming together from this 9-year hiatus to find themselves in this new album. Or do they? Or was it kind of an easy in back into Bright Eyes?
You mean how our other projects influence this one? Is that
yeah?
I think that's fair to say. I don't know. What do you guys think? I think everything I do I like to think I learn a little something from all the projects I work on.
Yeah. Otherwise, you'd be like incapable of progressing. I don't know. Like,
well,
go ahead.
But Mike got that pilot's license, and Connor learned Portuguese, and we're able to like put all of that stuff into our projects. No, but I think like Mike, producing and mixing like a bazillion records.
Nate's been working on a stand up.
I've been working on my stand up, and trying to get this public speaking thing together. It's not very well, but
you're doing
I'm
good.
trying. But
this is how it all comes together.
I think all of us are able to kind of take away the elements of what we work on individually and kind of put them into what we do together, which I think is responsible for a lot of the magic that is contained in this record that you guys are all about here.
Nate toured with like the Chili Peppers for like the last 3 years, so that's why we're so funky now.
Yeah, we got
kind of seeing how they wrote together and like how collaborative that was. It was certainly inspiring, and it got me thinking like, ready to embark on something with these guys in that way, because I had been kind of traveling with them for a few years and like seeing how they worked and seeing how they're like being together and jamming, warming up, rehearsing stuff, like how they were able to kind of put songs together in that way. We don't really go about like jamming in that way, but we jam in the studio when we like are putting stuff together. So that experience definitely was really fun, and it informed
we jam in our minds. We jam in our minds.
But it obviously it helped shape the record because Flea is playing on it. I mean, that wouldn't have happened had it not been for that during our hiatus. I mean, maybe it would. Maybe we would have, but
maybe
never say never.
Not, never say never. But Flea brought so much to this record, and John Theodore and all the musicians who play on this record. Our friend Macy Taylor, who played bass on the songs that Flea didn't play on. But it was wonderful to have all of these people a part of this process.
Absolutely. And so looking back on the Bright Eyes history and eventually, hopefully being able to tour, I assume you guys are going to be able to play some of like the old favorites from early 2000s and beyond. Looking back on those, how does that make you guys feel? And does it like bring up any memories or anything like that? Like, oh yeah, I remember when we first played this song, or when we were writing this one, now here in 2020.
I like if we got to play them, I think it would.
I say because we haven't gotten to that stage yet. Like,
yeah. But no, I mean, I think absolutely. I think the plan was to, we were supposed to tour all spring, and the first half of the year was supposed to be sort of, not greatest hits, but it's supposed to be like a lot of the old songs, and then just a couple of the new songs, and then as we got to the fall when the record was out, we were gonna like transition into performing more of the songs off the record. So yeah, it would have been interesting to see what it felt like to sing some of those songs.
Well, every time we tour, we play old songs, and it does feel nostalgic. And it's like, oh, I remember this. Sometimes you have to relearn it because you just forget it. And then
I always have to relearn it. I have to look up the lyrics on the internet.
And sometimes they're not the right words too.
They're always wrong, yeah.
You guys, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me about this new upcoming album, Down in the Weeds Where the World Once Was, out on August 21st.
Thanks, Bruce.
Thanks.